Hey guys, what's up? My name is Rachel and welcome back to my channel, The Reading Otter 7. So today I'm going to do my first I'm going to call it a series, and I'm going to call it Rachel Recommends. So I'm going to be doing just some recommendations for books that I've read that I think you guys might enjoy, and they'll generally be category based, and I'm going to start out with a favorite of mine. Series are great. Generally, I don't really have like enough motivation, I guess is the word, to read big series, and so my favorite things to read generally are standalones. So today I'm going to start out with my top 10 YA standalone recommendations. These are specifically YA, even though I do read some adult, just because I've read more YA than adult, so yeah. Let's just go ahead and get into it. The first one I have to recommend, and these are in no particular order of my top 10, this just kind of randomly. Although this one probably is my favorite top 10, my favorite YA standalone recommendation right now anyway. And so that one should come as no surprise, because I feel like I talk about it a lot. It's When Dimple Met Rishi by Sinha Menon, and I always get her name wrong, but that's okay. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. It was excellent, very well written, perfect debut novel in my opinion. The story was good. It kept you kind of not really on the edge of your seat, but it definitely kept you enthralled the whole time. And you just rooted for these characters from the start. So it was very cute. I really enjoyed it. I think you would really, really enjoy it. Everybody should at least give it a try. Yes. Okay. So the second one I want to recommend, I read last year and I really enjoyed it. It was my first take into historical fiction, and I deeply fell in love with the genre after that. And so that is Salt to the Sea by Rita Sepetys. This is probably my favorite historical fiction that I've read so far. It was just beautifully written. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. And even though personally, I didn't like all the main characters, I think that was the point for one of the characters, but it was still a really nice perspective. I liked how it kind of took a different take on World War II. This is set in World War II, 1945 in the winter, so the war is kind of coming to a close. And Germany is vastly approaching defeat. There's a good word for it. And everybody can just kind of tell that Germany is going to fall. And so this follows 4 different protagonists. I'm sorry, that was painful. This follows 4 different protagonists and their journey to the... Oh my gosh, it's been a while. I'm so sorry. I don't remember the actual area, but I do remember the goal. I think it's Prussia. It is Prussia. I'm sorry. It's Prussia. And they are going to the coast of Prussia to get on a big boat and hopefully make it to Germany, because the Soviet Union is advancing on Prussia, which was German occupied before. And so it follows these refugees as they try to seek refuge, duh. But it was just a really riveting story. It was beautifully written, very captivating, and it really made you think kind of about the perspective of some of maybe the German citizens, because I feel like a lot of historical fiction centers around the people that the Germans are oppressing, but this one took a very nice, a good change of pace in my opinion. So it was really good, and I would definitely recommend it. Especially if you're just trying to crack into the YA historical fiction genre and you're not really sure where to start, this is a good one to start with. So yeah. So the third book I want to recommend, I feel like everyone talks about it on BookTube, but I just couldn't leave it out because it has a very near and dear place in my heart. And so that is Fangirl by Rambo Rao. I love it so much, I went and bought the exclusive collector's edition. And I just love the fan art in this. Like, can we just take a second? How cool is this? Right? Right? And then I love the little coffee cup on the front. Yeah. So, anyway. I read my sister's copy first, and then I went and bought this because I liked it so much, so that tells you something. But anyway, this is about a girl named Kath, and her freshman year of college specifically, and she's a fan fiction writer, and she kind of struggles to prove that fan fiction is a, like, actual form of literature, and so it's kind of about her struggle with that, and there's also some family issues that arise, and just a lot of, like, mental stuff that she has to go through, and it's just a really cool kind of like a coming of age, in my opinion, college-based coming of age story. It was really good. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I would definitely recommend. And I feel like a lot of people on BookTube and people that watch BookTube can relate to Kath, because she's, you know, a fangirl, and we're all fangirls, so yeah, definitely recommend. The fourth one I want to talk about, I feel like nobody knows about, and I really just kind of stumbled upon this on Book Outlet, and it helped that the author was somebody that, like, I'm a huge fan of outside of literature. And so I want to recommend The Flip Side by Shawn Johnson. Yes, the Shawn Johnson from the 2008 Olympics. I mean, no one ever talks about this, and I can kind of see why, because, yeah, it's not the greatest writing in the world, but the story is really cute, and I really enjoyed it. It's kind of like a little bit of an autobiography of Shawn Johnson's life. It follows this, what is her name? Yep, I knew that. I should have not second-guessed myself. It follows our protagonist. Her name is Charlie, or Charlotte, and she kind of lives like a double life. Her friends at school call her Charlotte, and she dresses a little differently, she wears glasses, that kind of thing, and they know nothing about her gymnastics career. But on the flip side, hey, I didn't even mean to do that. On the flip side, her name is Charlie, and she's training to be an Olympic gymnast, and so she kind of leads a double life and wants to keep her two lives separate, but something happens and that doesn't necessarily work out for her, and so it's just a really fun, hard-hitting story of when two worlds collide and, kind of dealing with social anxiety and that kind of thing in high school. So it was really good. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Mainly just because it was such a cute story. Even if it wasn't necessarily the greatest writing, I really enjoyed it, and that's kind of what I base my ratings off of, so. The 5th book I want to recommend is also a recent release that I feel like everyone's talked about a lot, but I still want to recommend it because it was really cute and I really enjoyed it, and that is Geekerella by Ashley Poston. I think I said her last name correctly. If not, that's okay. This is another one of those books that, can we just take a minute to, enjoy the cover and the underneath, because that is so cute. And if you've read the story, then you know what that's about. If you don't, you'll figure it out very soon. But yeah, and the inside is really cute too. Ignore the sticky note. But the inside's really cute too. This is how me and Beth tell our books apart, so yeah, ignore that. Ooh, sorry. So yeah, this is Beth's book, clearly. Anyway, moving on. This is a really cute story. It's kind of like a Cinderella retelling, kind of not. It follows some basic key points that are Cinderella, and that's kind of why they call it that, apart from the name as well. And so it's a really cute story. It's about this extremely fandom-based girl. Our main protagonist is super into, oh my god, Starfield. I kept thinking Stargate. She's super into Starfield, which is kind of like a mixture of Star Wars and Star Trek, and she is a blog writer about it. That's how dedicated she is. But she decides that she wants to enter a cosplay contest, and so there's all kinds of problems that arise from that, and it's just and of course our Prince Charming is the lead actor in the Starfield film that's about to come out, and so there's a lot of that going on, and they happen to stumble upon each other's numbers somehow, and it's just a really cute romance, and yeah, I hope that didn't spoil too much. I feel like it didn't. I think I did a good job there. I don't know. But I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. It was really enjoyable, but I wasn't necessarily always engrossed in it, and so that's why I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Even though the writing was beautiful, I would definitely recommend this book. So, the 6th book I want to recommend is another one that has been out for a while, and I feel like this author gets a good amount of rep, but not necessarily a ton. And I have The Statistical Probability of Love at First Sight by Jennifer E. Smith. She also wrote The Geography of You and Me, This Is What Happy Looks Like, and a bunch of other ones. They're generally kind of tiny, so they're really cute, fluffy, light reads. This one is about a girl who is traveling to London to go to her father's wedding, and she just happens to meet this boy at the airport, and they end up sitting together on the plane, and this just really cute, romance ensues, and there's lots of obstacles that they face to get to each other, but it's really cute. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. It was really, really cute. You can read these so fast. They're like candy. You just kind of devour them. Not a lot of substance necessarily, but very entertaining, very cute, very well written. Definitely enjoy it. The 7th book I want to recommend to you is another historical fiction, and for me, I've only read 2 historical fiction, but they're both on here, so that should tell you something about these novels. And this is Between Shades of Grey by Ruta Sepetys as well. This is actually her first book, I believe. Yes, it is. This is the first book she wrote. This also takes place during the Second World War, but this takes place in Siberia, and it's about a Lithuanian girl who is captured by Soviet Union soldiers and sent to a work camp out in Siberia. And so it kind of details her struggle there, and there's a little bit of a romance that pops up. Not really, more of like a I can't really stand you, but I'm attracted to you kind of thing, which is very entertaining as well. But the main focus is the war, and I think that's what I like about it so much, is the romance takes a very back seat, and it's more about your struggle and how difficult it was to be in that time period. So it was very hard-hitting and very well written. I absolutely adore Ruta Sepetys' writing. I've only read 2 of her books, but I could not get enough of either of these. And historical fiction is not something I would read quickly, but I read these in like 3 days. That's how good they are. It was so well written. I just love her writing style. I can't get enough of it. I have Out of Easy, and I can't believe I have not picked it up yet, because she's amazing. So I would definitely recommend any of her books, any of them. And I gave this 5 out of 5 stars as well. We actually have 2 copies of this with 2 different covers, so, and they're both signed. So I'm just gonna take a minute to like show this off. It's personalized too. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, definitely check out this book and all of her books. Really, I definitely recommend all of her books. Okay, we're getting down to the wire. Book number 8 that I want to recommend is another one that's been around for a while, and I'm sure everyone's talked about it, but I just want to reinforce the recommendation, and that is Looking for Alaska by John Green. I've read a couple of John Green's books now, and this is probably my favorite. This is actually set not far from where I went to high school my senior year, so it's kind of cool to see that aspect of it as well. John Green's writing is so good. Not every story necessarily enthralls me, but his writing is always excellent. And his personality just comes out in his writing, and I love it. This is about Miles. I forgot they called him Pudge. I read this like 2 years ago, I'm sorry. Miles Halter, and he gets sent to this boarding school in the Birmingham, Alabama area, and he kind of struggles to fit in a little bit, and then he meets Alaska, and everything changes. And so this book is split into 2 parts, and I can't tell you what they are because it'll spoil the book, but this is definitely an emotional roller coaster. It's so well written. The romance between Alaska and Miles is very raw. It's more of like a Miles loves Alaska, and Alaska doesn't really necessarily totally love him all the way back. But you know, it's still really raw and well written, and I definitely enjoyed it a lot. So I gave this 4 out of 5 stars, just because it was a little slow at times, but it was still really good. Wow, it looks like I never read that. Wait, I did never read that copy. I borrowed Melanie's, and then I bought it. Okay. Number 9 should also come as no surprise. I'm sure everyone's recommended this to you, but oh well, I'm basic. And that is Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. Clearly, I like Rainbow Rowell. I think we own most of her books except for Carry On, but I'm not going to talk about why we don't own Carry On. Anyway, this is a really cute story. It's about Eleanor and Park, and they meet on a school bus, and their romance is very, very unconventional, but despite all odds, they fall in love, and it's just a really cute story of kind of like defying the odds and not really caring what society says about the person that you like and that kind of thing, but being together solely because you like them. And it was just a really cute story. It was really well written. Eleanor's got like a really rough home life, and it was just like, I don't know, it was just written so well that you just really empathized with her. I really, really enjoyed it. It was excellent. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. No surprise. It's Rainbow Rowell. Come on. Her writing is just so good. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed this book. So. And the last book I want to recommend to you is another contemporary. I know, detecting a theme. But anyway, and that is Why We Broke Up by Daniel Handler, also known as Lemony Snicket. Oh my gosh, spoiler. Anyway, this is a really cute story about why we broke up. And it's told in a series of letters that, her name, I'm sorry, but this is about a girl who's writing letters to her ex, Ed, and it kind of tells the story of why they broke up. It has really cute illustrations that kind of add to the story. It's written solely in letters, and it kind of deals with a lot of, like, in my opinion, realistic things that happen in high school. Kind of like the social status kind of gets in the way a little bit in their relationship, and just things like that. And it deals with a lot of just stuff that personally, like, I've dealt with, and so I really related to it. I I thought it was so well written, and it was just really entertaining. I read this in a day. I am a generally fast reader, but I don't have the attention span necessarily to read a whole book in a day, and I did. I read this on the way to Atlanta and on the way back from Atlanta, which is not a very long drive, and finished the whole thing. So if that tells you anything, like, yeah, this is so cute. And I would just, if you're looking for something light and quick, like to fit that reading goal or anything like that, I would recommend this because it's really easy to read and it was super cute. So I gave this 5 out of 5 stars, and I wrote a report on it, so yeah. Anyway. Alright, that's all the recommendations I have for you today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more awesome content. If you see Hermione anywhere, let me know where she is in the comments down below, and I'll leave all of my ratings, and if I have any reviews, didn't used to review a lot, so I may not have any, I'll leave that in the comments down below as well. See ya next time!